Ms. Norton, you're recognized.
Thank you, and I thank my good friend for yielding. As the only member of Congress elected by the nearly 700,000 District of Columbia residents, I appreciate the opportunity to wave onto this committee for the purposes of this hearing. I'm deeply saddened that some of the witnesses for this hearing were victims of crime in the district. However, while the federal government controls much of DC's criminal justice system, to the extent that this hearing focuses on DC's local laws and local government, it violates the purposes of the DC Home Rule Act, which is to, among other things, and I'm quoting, grant the inhabitants of the District of Columbia powers of local self-government and relieve the Congress of the burden of legislating upon essentially local district matters, end quote. While Congress has constitutional authority to legislate on local DC matters, it does not have a constitutional duty to do so. Instead, legislating on local DC matters is a choice. James Madison said in Federalist 43 about the residents of the district, and I'm quoting, "A municipal legislature for the local purposes derived from their own suffrages will, of course, be allowed them," end quote. The Supreme Court has held that Congress may delegate, quote, full legislative power to DC on local DC matters. DC's local legislature, the DC Council, has 13 members. The members are elected by DC residents. If DC residents do not like the laws the council adopts, they can vote the members out of office. That is called democracy. Congress has 535 voting members. The members are elected by residents of states. None are elected by or accountable to DC residents. If DC residents do not like the laws Congress adopts, they cannot vote the members out of office. The Revolutionary War was fought to give consent to the governed and to end taxation without representation. Yet DC residents cannot consent to any action taken by Congress, whether on national or local DC matters, and pay full federal taxes. Indeed, DC residents pay more federal taxes per capita than any state and more local federal taxes than 19 states. DC residents, a majority of whom are Black and brown, are capable and worthy of governing themselves. If House Republicans cared about democratic principles or local DC residents, they would bring my DC Statehood bill, which would give DC residents voting representation in Congress and full local self-government, to the floor. Congress has the constitutional authority to admit the state of Washington, DC. It simply lacks the will. I yield back, and I thank the chairman.